In this module, the outline of our topic will start off with what is CM, Change Management by me, Saria, why CM by Edward. Afterwards, we will look closely at how to do CM by James, explain more through the case studies coded by Kanyava and Jay, and finally Karen will conclude our topics. Without further ado, let's begin. Defining change. So what exactly is change? Change is all around us and occurs fairly often. However, when we focus on business aspect of change, it is any shift in the way a business operates, whether in culture, technology, processes, or structure. And here's the reality. Business must constantly evolve and adapt to meet a variety of challenges, from changes in technology to this rise of new competitors, to a shift in laws, regulation, and underlying economic trends. Failure to do so could to stagnation or worse, failure. But not all challenges will affect business in a negative way. Some might even bring an improvement in the efficiency or profitability of the business. There are two main types of changes organizations face. Adaptive changes. These are small incremental adjustments. Think of hiring new staff to meet growing demands or tweaking the workflow to improve efficiency. They are gradual, manageable, and often continuous. Transformational changes. These are big sweeping shifts, for example, launching a new division, restructuring the organization, or adopting an entirely new technology platform. Transformational changes redefine how the business operates and often require a cultural shift. Now that we know a little about change, then what is change in management? In short, change management is about helping organizations navigate both adaptive and transformational changes successfully. It ensures that change is thus introduced, embraced, sustained, and leveraged to keep business moving forward.
Why do we need change management as a discipline? To put it bluntly, it's because about 70% of change initiatives fail. If we look at the Kubler-Ross change curve, we can see how change affects human emotion. Effective change management strategies will help organizations manage employee expectations and prevent anger and depression from causing harm to projects. Change management, as we discussed in our introduction, uses evidence-based approaches founded in behavioral psychology and neurology to support those undergoing change. It is like therapy, but built into your project cycle. The hard part in managing change is communicating and motivating individuals to adopt that change in their behavior. In most cases, science or data is not enough to motivate people to adopt change. Let us consider refined sugar or junk food as a common example. Science tells us there are no health benefits to consuming these foods, and they are detrimentally harmful to human health. Yet, they are still sold, and we continue to buy them, especially around special events and holidays. In this example, change management will inform leaders on how to arrive at their desired outcome of no sugar or reduced sugar intake, while managing emotions of denial, anger, bargaining, and depression to reach the desired change management outcome. Change management not only helps with employee expectation, but teaches leaders to consider the perspective and experience of those undergoing change. Imagine flying through turbulence as a passenger without the pilot's intercom. You would just sit there, blindly having no control while picturing the worst outcomes. Most of us would not be willing to tolerate that situation for very long. As in the picture, the pilot can see the destination and how to get there. He has the benefit of having planned the route and is engaged in the journey. If he does not consider the passengers and communicate well what is happening with the airplane, it creates panic and fear. Understanding and adopting change management theory and techniques that help leaders design projects are more likely to succeed and result in staff tolerating turbulence of change better.
Now that we've defined change management and why it matters, let's look at a 5-step process recommended by Harvard Business School to guide organizations through change. These steps cover preparation, planning, implementation, embedding, and review. Like project management, change management can be implemented in similar stages, starting with preparing employees for change by communicating the need for it during the preparation stage. It's important not to overload employees with information all at once, as this can be overwhelming and may create unnecessary anxiety or fear. Early buy-in from employees help reduce resistance and sets the stage for smooth implementation. Next, a clear plan is developed. This is a stage to engage with the change manager and create a change strategy. Like a project, each strategy should be context-specific, designed to close a gap between the organization's current state and its desired future state. During planning, it's important to set goals and determine how to measure success through KPIs, identify the stakeholders, and define the scope boundaries. Once the change strategy has been developed, it is now time to change. Based on the scope, the change can affect the company's structure, strategy, systems, processes, employee behaviors, or other aspects. The change strategy is like a project that is progressively elaborated, where the plan may not be set in stone from day one. Implementation should be carried out with the right people, at the right time, in the right way, while maintaining clear communication and recognizing short-term wins to keep momentum. Now, as explained earlier by Edward, making sure that employees incorporate new ways into their normal routine is crucial to prevent backsliding. Change management is not done once the change is implemented. To make the change stick, it should be embedded into workflows, structures, reward systems, and cultural practices. Depending on that type of change, whether it's adaptive or transformational, these tools help make the change permanent. Lastly, review the outcomes against the goals and KPIs set earlier. Assess what worked, what didn't, and identify lessons for future initiatives. There are many risks that can occur during the implementation process, and this review helps uncover them so that the organization can refine strategies and improve the mitigation plans for future changes. This step ensures continuous improvement and helps the organization strengthen change management for the next effort. These 5 steps, prepare, plan, implement, embed, and review, provide a roadmap for managing change effectively. Next, we'll look at how the framework plays out in some examples.
So now let's look at some of the case studies to better understand the change management. Our first case in 2014, Dutch University Hospital sent out a tender for surgical suture material in order to cut the cost and also to standardize the materials. However, a new vendor was awarded later on, where the e-learning module for surgeons, workshop, and support in the operating theater is included. Seemed easy and straightforward, right? So what could go wrong? During the tender, it was reviewed by all of the head departments, and then some concerns were raised by the cardiac surgeon. However, it was dismissed, and they were forced to do the trial anyway. So now in 2015, the project failed. There is a resistance from the cardiac surgeons that leads to the end of the contract with the cardiac surgery department because they refuse to work with the tools and they also stockpiling the supplies for their own use. They have anger and channel that to the management, saying that the management should be accountable for possible patient death from the new suture and threaten to go to the press if that happened. So from this situation, people within a certain group tend to form their own opinions, and it's like a snowball effect down the Kubler-Ross view that we mentioned earlier. So in this case, the unaddressed concern creates fear to the project and later grow into a resistance to change. We have another case study that do well on managing the people aspect of the project. So now let's look at how Beavers handled this issue in their dam.
Cultural change has to start within yourselves as leaders, says the Fox. To support them, the Fox invites a coach specialized in culture change. If you become change champions, then you can bring cultural change to your organization. This is called the butterfly effect. The butterfly coaches the beavers through their personal leadership transformation using several principles. The first one being to show up. In order to inspire your followers, you have to practice how to be fully present with them. The second principle is learning to speak up. To get there, the beavers practice how to create psychological safety and to let go of limiting beliefs. It is also important to look up and imagine the kind of organization that they can become, one that provides a sustainable future for the next generations. The beavers also practice on how to collaborate and team up with other stakeholders to face their challenges. The butterfly also helps them to build resilience, to face the challenge of cultural change, so that they never give up on their dreams and projects. Finally, they established the Beaver Change Champions Award program in order to lift each other up. With their new mindset, now the Beavers are ready to go through the 5 main stages of cultural change: diagnosis, intervention design, leadership network, change, and evaluation. As cultural change champions, the Beavers are now able to kindle the butterfly effect with congruence. The change mindset spreads through the organization, and the business emerges as a vibrant culture and successful enterprise that they are all incredibly proud of.
The Beavers showed a good way to sustain change. However, with uniqueness for change, there are different models for change, as what Institute CEO Steve Bannett used in this case study. Institute is a well-known company that provides financial softwares like QuickBooks, TurboTax, and Quicken. Even though the company already had a strong market presence in early 2000, there was still room for improvement. In the year 2000, Steve Bannett, who was previously a vice president at General Electric, was hired as the new CEO. Instead of maintaining the status, he believed that Institute could perform even better and decided to implement major organization changes. To guide this transformation, Steve Bannett used the McKinsey's 7S model, which focuses on 7S, which are strategy, structure, system. Style refers to leadership, staff focused on employee commitment, and shared values. Steve focused on expanding Institute's products and strengthening its market position. He introduced a more decentralized organizational structure, giving greater authority to individual business units. This allowed teams to work faster and make better decisions in product development and distribution. The company's reward and performance systems were realigned with the new strategic goals, so employees were motivated to support the change. Steve adopted a performance-driven leadership style and clearly communicated the vision of change throughout the company. He brought experienced managers from General Electric and investing more in training and learning programs to improve employee capabilities, productivity, and efficiency. Steve built a strong vision-driven culture supported by consistent and transparent communication across the organization. This ensured that everyone was working towards the same goal. As a result of this well-aligned change strategy, Entity experienced a 40 to 50% increase in profit between 2002 and 2003. In conclusion, this case study clearly shows that successful change isn't just about strategy or structure, it's also about leadership, culture, skills, and communications. The McKinsey's 7S model helped Institute transform in balanced and sustainable way. Thank you.
As we wrap up our presentation, one clear message stands out. Changes itself is not only the challenge. Leaders must support individuals throughout the changes process as well. Everything shows the organization struggle most because human factors are often overlooked. If projects continue to ignore change management strategies, we will continue to see that 70% of figure of failed projects group. People will go through emotions like denial, frustrations, and fear, just as described in the Kubler-Ross change curve, and if these symptoms of changes are ignored, even well-planned initiatives can fall apart. That is why the change management exists, to guide individuals throughout the emotional and behavioral journey that accompanies many major shifts. We also saw that communications plays an essential role in shaping how people respond to changes. This is where CM frameworks, such as prepare, plan, and implement embedded and review becomes crucial. They ensure people are informed early, support consistently, empowered to adopt and guided even after the change is implemented, so that the new behaviors or system don't fade away. This structured approach turns change from something overwhelming into something manageable and meaningful. Our case study highlighted that the effect of change management in real-world situations. The resistance to change can be reduced with the right message by the right people, like the Beavers champion, speaking to other Beavers who can speak the same language and better communicate change to cardiac surgeons. Don't forget that each project is uniquely different, hence the different change management approaches should be chosen. One of the most famous models, like the 7S models used by McKinsey, is explained with Intuit's successful transformations. In contrast, healthcare examples demonstrated that when communication, involvement, and emotional support are prioritized, adoptions happens more smoothly. Bringing all of this together, our conclusion is simply successfully change is people-centered. When organizations combine clear communication throughout planning and genuine respect for humans' emotion, change is not only implemented, it is embraced, sustained, and truly successful. Thank you.
What if it's